awesome. I'm up here. I'm gonna ride my new stuff. I'm gonna get to test it all out. It's gonna be awesome. Me and my girlfriend came up, and first day we're out riding, and you know, all day we're riding, and I'm just having a ball on this thing. Like, everything is just feeling awesome. I'm loving it all, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm like, this is great, like, awesome. And that night I went for a ride on my own, and just like a quick rip through like the wells back here. Like, I was cooking along, and you know, I didn't really do much like speed runs like earlier that day, so I was cooking, you know, I was seeing how it was and everything, and I get back and I'm hearing this ticking, and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, ticking's never a good thing. Like, that's always bad, isn't it? Like, so I'm like, ah, man, this sucks. So I shut it off. I figure, you know, it's just hot. You know, I went like a pretty good. It was a pretty good ride. Like, I was cooking along, so I'm like, maybe it's just really hot. So you know, the next morning I go out. I start it up, and I'm blowing smoke, and I'm like, oh shit, what does this mean? And so I'm already starting to get like pretty worked up. Not worked up like a 2-year-old like crying, but I'm starting to get a little irritated. I'm like, this is not good. I check my oil. There is nothing on the dipstick. Nothing. Like, I shit you not. I hope nobody's too young to hear profanity. I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but I kid you not. Nothing on the dipstick, and it was full the day before. So I'm like, oh shoot, like, this is no bueno. All is bad. Like somebody call 499, because I don't know what number that is, but I'm like, oh god, this is horrible. Like, I have no oil on the dipstick. That's why I was ticking. I was about to blow up. I'm like, oh, that's just freaking great. Like, awesome. This is horrible. So I called my dad's buddy that jetted it for me, and I was like, hey, you know, I got like no oil on the dipstick. The day before it was full. It was ticking last night. I'm blowing a little bit of gray smoke. And he's like, I hate to say it, but I think it's your piston rings. And I'm like, you've got to be joking me. Like, oh man, we got some walkers up here. Get out of the way, you walkers. So he's like, I'm like, does that have anything to do with my jetting? Maybe just like, he's like, no, it shouldn't. You know, I think it's your piston rings. That's usually what that is. And I'm like, oh my god. So I'm in a frantic, just pissed off to no end now. I'm like, well, what do I do? Can I fill it up with oil and ride it? And he's like, I wouldn't. He's like, I would park it for the weekend. I know it sucks, but I would park it because you don't want to blow it up and make things worse. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll park it. You know, I was livid. I didn't talk to anybody for like an hour. I was just pissed. So I park it. You know, I call my dad, call my uncle, because he wasn't up there. It was just me, my girlfriend, my grandma, my grandpa. We were up here. So yeah, I was livid. Now I'm looking up like top end kits, because that's basically, you can't just do piston rings. You have to do the whole top end, because it's just how it works. Once you take it all apart, you gotta just redo everything. And so I'm like, shit, like, I just spent all this money on all this stuff, and I'm gonna have to spend all this money on a frickin' top end. Like, I can't, like, so I'm freaking out, you know. Do I do a big bore kit? Do I do this? What's this? What's that? How much is that? Do I gotta do this? So anyway, that's why in the last video, like trail riding with my girlfriend, I was on my uncle's quad, because, you know, this one was not in operation that weekend anymore. It was all just not good. Like, it was bad. So I'm losing my mind. I'm like just beyond pissed off, and that was bad. Oh jeez. So yeah, that was that weekend. So basically everything was like, oh good, I got everything on, and then it was like, no you don't, you're screwed, you're toast. So horrible. So anyway, my uncle was pretty convinced that it was my jet. We're home now. My uncle's pretty convinced it was just my jetting was so messed up that nothing like we did or like my dad's buddy did. We think the kit was just, it was just too, I don't know, whatever. He was convinced that was the issue, and I was like, alright, so maybe I'll just have to rejet. So me and my dad rejetted it at least 3 times, and every time we did it, it either blew smoke or it wouldn't idle, ran like crap. So we did that for about a week or so. Again, this is a real long process. La 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 la. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the corner's so blind. It's pretty freaky. Yeah. So wow, I'm like just completely losing every train of thought that I had today. I'm just warning you guys, this thing's gonna be so long. Like, I still have so much to talk about. Like, it's ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous, but like, I have a lot to talk about. So it's gonna be a long one. So stay tuned. Actually, yeah, whatever. So yeah, I'll speed this up a bit. We said, you know what? My dad's buddy, the one that actually helped me jet it, was like, you know, LeBaron's Power Sports. He said they have a dyno. They'll throw it on the dyno. They will jet that thing to a T. And I was like, it's like 300 and some odd dollars. And I'm like, oh my god! Like, I literally just spent like, I mean, you people that like are into this stuff will know how much rims, tires, a header. Well, a header was for Christmas. Rims, tires, this, that, the other thing. Like, you all know how much that is. Like, it was, yeah. And for those of you that don't know, it was expensive. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have a choice at this point. If I want a running quad, I have to do this. Like, so I did, and well, first, actually, the story. Man, I've said this a lot, but the story gets worse. Again, like it's. I'm looking up and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna get this thing jetted. Yeah, it's gonna cost some money, but you know what? It's gonna be running perfect after. Like, I'm gonna get it all. It's well, hopefully it's gonna be running perfect. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna get it all jetted. Here we go. Like, this is it. And so basically, I had to tell him that, you know, hey, I'm blowing a little bit of smoke. What does that mean? He's like, yeah, it could be your piston ring, yada yada yada. So I'm like, awesome. Like, I could still have to do the top end. And I'm like, this sucks. So yeah. So I'm like, what am I like? I don't even remember. I gotta make sure this thing's still on. Oh, that's not a pretty sign. Is this thing still on? Okay, I think we're still on. We're still recording. Sweet. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, still could be. As long as it's not blowing a lot of smoke, we can proceed. And, you know, you might be able to get the whole season out of it. Might just have to do it over winter. I'm like, okay. So I'm reading up online, and I see to do a compression test to check your top end, check specific things, whatever. So I do a compression test, and my numbers are lower than what they should be. So I'm like, awesome, I have a freaking problem. So we adjust my valves, because they're like, hey, your valves could be off. Have they ever been adjusted? I'm like, no. So we adjust my valves, take a compression test, and yeah, it was better. So yeah, that was like a little sigh of relief. I'm like, all right, good. My compressions were, you know, where it should be. Awesome. And I'm not really sure why I stopped. I'm like, okay, compressions where it's at. We're going on with thing. I take it in like a week or so. We take it in, get it jetted. You know, finally gets done. All is well. He basically told me that when you try to run open, okay. He told me that when you try to run open air box with these, that sometimes it's just like it's letting in too much air, and it makes the jetting too hard to like get down right. So like it's just like an overabundance. What they do that they have found is 2 1-inch holes in the lid is actually perfect for these 400 EXs. So they did that for me, so I was still getting more airflow. And yeah, jetted it all up. I got, oh man, I don't even remember what jet I have in it now. It's a Keihin jet. They went back to standard jetting, thank God. They're like standard, like, they went back to like standard jets, like the, you know, the Keihin jets. I got a new pilot jet too. I'm pretty sure that's a 40, I believe. So that helps with the starting and idling and whatever. I don't know, whatever it helps with. So yes, did that. Got all that settled. Everything was good. I'm like, awesome. Oh, and before this, I switched to Rotella T4 15W40. I'm pretty sure it's 15W40. I'll check and I'll put like all the specifics of like my jetting and like what oil I use now. It's a thicker, it's actually a diesel oil. I heard a lot of people use it, a lot of people love it. So I'm like, you know what, if mine's burning oil a little bit, I'm gonna go to a thicker oil. Hopefully that'll help, you know, help keep the engine cooler. Like, so that's what I did. And yeah, I mean, so far so far the oil's been good. You know, everything's been good and stuff with it. And so yeah, so I have it jetted. I got everything on. Everything's good. I finally get to go ride this thing. I go to the track. I go up to Twisted. That's the first time I got to ride it after everything was on. Was actually the Twisted MX practice crash. I crashed. Yeah, it sucked. But that was the first time I got to ride everything, and it was muddy. I mean, you can tell from the video, it was so freaking muddy. It was horrible. But wow, this vlog is freaking long. I am so sorry. But it was so muddy. Like the mud, it was horrible. So like I could tell that everything was like feeling good, but it was like the mud was making it so hard just to like, nah. So like, yeah. But everything was running good, and I kept checking my oil. I checked my oil. Everything was pretty good. So yeah, that went good. And yeah. So to wrap this portion up, to go back, kind of cliff note. It went up, then it went down, then it went up, then it went down, then it went up, then it went down, and it was all over the friggin' place. And bottom line is, at the end of all of that, mind you, this started the middle of April, and by the time I got it all settled, it was like Father's Day, June 18th, I think, was like the first time I got to ride it with everything on it. So quite the process, but I gotta say, well worth it. Well worth all the hassle, even though I wish I didn't have to go through all the hassle. I love all the stuff I've done to it. Like, I'm super duper happy with it. So yeah, that's good. Like, because if it wouldn't have been worth it, that would have sucked. But yeah, totally worth it. Really happy with it. I'm gonna talk more about it in the part 2. But I'm actually going to wrap this up because I'm pretty sure this is like a 45,000 minute vlog, which it is not. That is exaggerated, but whatever. I'm going to try to post these, like this one and the next part. I'm going to try to post them relatively close to each other, so because it's kind of just a continuation because this one's really long. I apologize for it being really long, but like I said, I haven't vlogged in probably about a year, like, so since like last summer basically. So there's a lot that went on during, I don't know if I missed any parts. If I do, I'm sure I'll think of them and say it in the next part. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for sticking around if you stuck around. Sorry it was so long, but like I said, a lot of stuff I had to get out. So I will see you in the next part, and yeah, take care.